It's
Um,
hard and it's a never ending journey.
yes.
You know, you kind of mentioned how I wrote this book, and it was an untraditional kind of idea. It was a little challenging to sell the idea, but I am not a huge reader like you. I'd rather be outside adventuring. And so I wanted to write a book that was easy to read, that had a lot of different types of adventures. So people could relate from, a 55-year-old who started really getting into adventure in her 50s and became an ice climbing guide at age
Yeah.
55 after,
Yep.
being a mom to, twins who were young and paddled from Alaska to San Diego, actually all the
Yeah.
way to the border of Mexico and San Diego on paddle boards to, the first outdoor drag queen, a body positive runner, my own story, and
Yep.
everything in between. And I wanted people to also have, if they were already read the book once or they just wanted to get quick tidbits at the end, there's just like advice on kind of what to do. And I'm not an expert. I'm not a therapist. I'm not a doctor. I've just interviewed a ton of people who are a lot like me. And, adventure has helped them in their life, whether they need to make a change or maybe it's like change a habit, maybe it's change a relationship, change a job. Adventure for me has always been a good catalyst to develop the courage to then make that change off
Yes.
the trail in life. Um, but yeah, I think, when we do an adventure, if sometimes we set out, we prepare something like the AT, which is really hard, takes a lot of prep, takes a lot of mental energy, takes financial energy, everything. And sometimes it doesn't always go as planned. I mean, that
Yep.
is what an adventure is. When it doesn't go as planned, even Yvonne Chenard says, like, it's not an adventure until something goes wrong. But that's where we grow and that's where we learn. And sometimes the best parts of ourselves develop. It's not easy. But when you're in nature, you do get these wonderful metaphors that you can apply to your life. I think in some ways, the reason why I like adventuring in nature as a catalyst to change is because when you do an adventure in nature, it sort of tricks you into being present and
Sure.
almost meditating. Try
Yes.
and surf a wave, climb a rock, and you have to pay attention. You have to focus or you'll fall. Even when you're hiking for long distances, you kind of have to get into a flow state or a meditative state,
Yes. You
and
talk
you don't
about that.
mean to. Also, I think there's so many great things in nature. Nature doesn't really care how much money is in our bank account, who we are, what we look like, what our political views are. It's kind of a great equalizer. It's
There's no
not always,
judgment.
yeah,
There's
it's
no
not
judgment
equal
in
to
nature.
get to nature always. That's true. And people will judge, but nature doesn't really judge. And, what I've learned is from nature recently, a lesson that I've learning is to appreciate the imperfections in myself. I have this autoimmune condition called vitiligo that makes patches of my skin turn white. And it's
Oh.
maddening because I'm pretty vain. I'm from Southern California. I'm often camera facing. And, I look at trees and some of the coolest looking trees have spots on them or like curves or weird things on them. And they're not judging themselves. At least I don't know. I mean, I'm not a tree, but I'm assuming that they're not judging themselves.